There are two big companies that produce small frame interchangeable core locks, Best and Falcon. My go-to key machine is the Best Red Punch. But Falcon, many years ago, made their own version, which is very similar, but there are some distinct differences. Now, the machines operate the same way. You dial in your depth over here, and the spacing is automatic every time you move the handle. And you load the keys the same way. You slide it in to the left of this little knob, and then pull this piece over here. And this is where we run into the first difference and the first problem, because the Falcon Punch does not accept these oversized key blanks. So we're going to have to go with a normal size. Now, on the Best machine, this lever spins all the way around. On the Falcon, it only turns the actual 90 degrees. And when you're on the key, it's pretty solidly on there. There's a little notch in there where it stops. Well, on the Best machine, you can still move it around. Now, that is another difference. On the Falcon, once you move the lever out of the way, there's nothing that interferes with the key blank. But on the Best machine, I've noticed that every now and then I'll run into the knob. It's a little annoying. Now, one thing I definitely like better about the Falcon is that you can actually dial the depth from 0 to 9 and vice versa. So you can go all the way around. While on the Best, you have a positive stop both directions. So if you have a key code where you have to go from 0 to 9 or 1 to 8, it might be a little bit quicker with the Falcon. Now, the Falcon machine is massive. It weighs a lot more, and there's actually no provision to mount it to the bench. The Best machine has those two little holes, although you really don't need to mount either machine. Now, if you look underneath, again, they're very similar. On the Best machine, if you take this screw out right here, this pin slides out, and that is what holds the carriage in. On the Falcon machine, there's actually a screw that goes directly into the carriage. And then we can pull it out, which is necessary for cleaning because these ridges tend to gum up. Now, if you look at these, there's really not a ton of difference. On the Best, there are these little ridges that help it ride to the next cut, and a ball detent rides on these holes here to kind of halfway index it. And then when you press the lever down, a pin goes into one of these holes to hold it in place while it's making the cut. On the Falcon, it advances to the next space via these ridges here. And there's actually a triangular piece, more or less, that goes into here to on the left side, I believe, to hold it in place, and there's a ball detent on the right side of it. So they really work the same way. Now, both of these are spring-loaded, but there's a lot more travel on the best. And it looks like on both of these, this little blade that actually holds the key by that bottom ridge here can be replaced. Although I'll doubt I'll find any parts, and this one's worn out pretty bad. So you can see that they're pretty similar. On the older Best machines, they looked a little different. The piece that actually holds the key was more of a quarter moon shape, and it didn't stick out quite as far in the back, which is really only important if you plan to drop it. Now, one little difference is when you put the carriage in, there's a ball detent on the bottom left on the Best Punch that makes sure that this whole carriage goes all the way to the right. We do not have that on the Falcon machine. It relies solely on the machining, on how well it fits. Both machines have a four-sided punch, so if it's all the way worn out, you can take it apart and you can actually turn the punch 90 degrees and it's like new again. Let me reassemble these. One thing I've noticed about the machines is that on the Best machine, everything moves pretty freely. Well, you really have to manhandle the Falcon. This lever here is super soft on the Best, but there's a heavy spring in the Falcon. Now let's put this back together. That's another thing about the two machines. The feet can be replaced. They're held in with Phillips screws on these Best machines, while they cannot be replaced on the Falcon, and that's a real shame because it needs new ones. Now, get this screw back in. I have not noticed any difference in accuracy of the machines. And I have a lock here, and I'm just gonna coat cut a key, and you can see that the operation is pretty much the same. So here's the key code. Okay. The first time you press it, it actually doesn't do anything because it has to jump to the first spot. 7, 7, 6, 1, 8, 9, 9. And it works perfectly. Same thing over here. On the Falcon machine, you don't have to press it down once for it to go to the first spot. The first time you pull the handle, you're on the first 6, 1. And this is one of those cases where it's convenient to go up past 0. And it's not a lot faster, but it is faster nonetheless. And it also works perfectly. Actually, I believe this machine is currently calibrated better than the best. I have not cut a million keys on either of these, but if I were to guess, I would say, well, this is harder to turn. The knob, the way it's shaped, just feels better in the hand. So if I were to cut thousands of keys and I could only choose one of them, I'd probably go for the Falcon. Yeah, let me know what you think.